I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Hello and welcome to Accidentally Casual, a very special episode of the podcast as we are celebrating Dragon Forge Day. Dragon Forge Day. Yes, that was what it was totally voted as. And we are here with very special guests who are going to introduce themselves. So first we have our old special favourite, AD.
I'm back, you can't get rid of me. Hi.
Nope. No, why would we ever want to? And our super special new guest to talk about Dragon Age is...
Caitie. Hi. My name is Caitie. I have the Gilderthon channel on YouTube where I just talk about Dragon Age lore, but today I'm representing the Dragon Forage team, I guess, because I've been one of the people helping out plan. So
yeah, I was going to try and do a oh yeah, I can totally do a stream or something of the tabletop game, because I've had this old campaign ideas for oh, but what if I essentially wrote a fan fiction with player characters with other characters coming into it, and I didn't quite get round to structuring it in time for the day.
Aww.
So yeah, so I was like, I totally wanted to do that, and I will end up doing it at some point, I swear. I ended up absolutely spilling my guts to someone who asked me about it on Twitter, and they're like, whoa, that sounds cool. I was like, yeah, I know, right? I want to do it. So yeah, I'll get around to doing that. So we just wanted to, first I'll give a shout out to the Dragon Forge Day team, which I will say correctly at some point in the podcast, I swear to God. And just say, we love you guys, and you guys are great. Go check out at Drunk Dalish and at I'm a Sith on Twitter, and I'm sure I'm forgetting people, and at Jerkjaw, he's great. I'm forgetting people, and I should have had a list.
Andrastini's also been a huge help.
Oh god, yes, and there's amazing things there's. I couldn't believe they managed to get the signatures from the voice actors. So they got Alex Walton Regan and John Curry.
It's nice that they're so accessible.
Oh yeah. Especially since I not low-key stalk, but every time Alex Wilson Regan says something on Twitter, I'm like, yo, yes, fight the power.
That's our Inquisitor.
I love you.
Well, that was all the Dump Drunk and Dayla. Oh god, I can never say her username. Dee Dee, we call her. That was all Dee Dee. She was amazing.
Because her full name is Dumped Drunk and Dalish with at Drunk Dalish. So if you try and refresh your mouth for that, it just ends up sounding it sounds like Dum Dalish. It's like, no, we love you, Dee Dee, we love you, Dee Dee.
I have to call her Dee Dee. I can never remember if it's drunk. See, I can't even do it. Drunk Dalish or Dalish drunk.
Oh, that's amazing. But yes, we want to give a shout out to all you guys, and the perfectly timed, totally not remotely predicted by me when I was setting up this podcast, we had the November blog for BioWare drop, what was it, yesterday?
Hell yeah, we did.
Yes, yeah.
It released a rather significant tidbit that kind of blew up all of the internet, at least as far as I could see in Twitter, which is that there is Dragon Age news coming this month.
Yeah. I bet.
Here we all sit here and scream.
I've got this theory, they're going to release it on December 4th. Specifically because of we've been going on about Dragon Age 4 being a D4 day, December 4th. It just makes sense. I think they'll do it purposely for that, because I know they're paying attention. So
we have reached out to them. We just haven't gotten any response. I don't know why.
That's a hell of a response, though.
Who'd you ask for?
I wasn't the one to do it. It was Dee Dee. I think she just went through BioWare support or something. Not support, but their
I've got some of their emails and stuff if you want me to pass them on. It's not a private thing or anything, but they give them out at cons and things, so you pick up their cards there, but I'll find those and dig them out for you.
Okay, thank you. But as far as the team goes, we have no secret knowledge. We're just excited as everybody else. I think we'd all die if it ended up actually being something on Dragon 4 Day.
That would be really cool. I mean, that was just me guessing. It wasn't me like giving anything away. Because with Dragon Age Inquisition, I knew too much, and I feel like it kind of ruined the experience a little bit for me when it came to playing it. So this time I'm like, I don't want to know anything at all. I just want to, find out when everybody else does.
That's one of the things I like about Anthem, is that they haven't really delved too much into the story. It's like, oh, look, this is how the game plays, which, considering it's such a departure for BioWare, is actually like, oh, that's actually reassuring that it plays like something I can wrap my head around instead of,
I've not followed any of that
where it's
at
like,
all.
oh yeah, it's totally on a console, but it's got like 12,000 button combinations. It's like, why? Why would you do that? Anyway, so we're totally excited for that, as you can tell. Is that? But I couldn't believe that Casey Hudson was like, oh, there's news coming, but I'm not going to say where. It's like, why? Why would you make us paranoid?
So just in the coming month, it's like, right, so it's got to be at some point in the rest of this month or December. Hopefully.
It might be in the Video Game Awards. That's been...
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe it'll just be
but that's
like...
the thing, they're having an Anthem drop, though, so...
For Inquisition, when they first announced it, it was just like the screen and it just said Dragon Age Inquisition and that was it. So it might be just like, there's the title on the screen, now it's official kind of thing.
Let's be honest,
That's more than we had.
Oh yeah, and anything right now would be cool.
Yeah, and do you remember when they at E3 when Bethesda dropped the Elder Scrolls 6
Oh yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, oh, pan over some mountains,
that was
play
right,
a bit of music, and have Elder Scrolls 6, and it's like, and everyone went mental.
That's honestly what I'm
so
expecting.
they fucked up on 76.
Oh yeah.
Just as long as they learn a lesson to do essentially the opposite of what Blizzard did with the Diablo mobile game thing.
So long as they don't fuck up like this new Elder Scrolls game like they did with 76, then hopefully it'll be fine. I've lost.
This is a positive.
I've lost hope in them.
That's a
Sorry,
bad
you can cut
thing.
that out. You can cut that out. It's all right.
It's alright. I just love it. It's like, oh no, this is good things. This is sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, it's good things, but like Dragon Age good things, so I can slag off everything else. It's okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there's a good. So this isn't mud and sepia tone. This is Dragon Age.
Rainbows.
Anyway, rainbows. Oh god, now I want like a rainbows meme in the Dragon Age universe in some capacity. Like in The Witcher, there's that stuffed unicorn you can have sex on. It's like I remember seeing that in the game, and I was just like, you know what? Of all the things I can see in some form being in Dragon Age for some capacity, like, oh yeah, Bull found this thing and now we're gonna have sex on it or something. It seems like that wouldn't be something too far off.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, there was that butterfly sword in Origins.
Oh yeah, Sten's sword. You know what I would do? I would give them, because I got the feast day gifts and the pranks. Yeah. I would give them the pranks, or no, I would give them the gifts first and then the pranks, and then work their way back up again, just so I could have Sten run around with a butterfly sword. Just be like, you love me, Kadan. Take me back to the Meet the Canary as the example of the one human who's actually worth it, the one Shem who's actually worth it. No, not Shem, what am I talking about? What's the word? Yes, the boss that's actually worth a damn. I am Boss Elite on, bitches!
That's my one fear, if we have to go to Sten without the Warden there, and there's like no history, it's just like some Canary guy.
And he's not even going to be called Sten anymore, is he? Because he's been like promoted up the ranks.
He's Arashok now.
Yeah, he's Arashok. Sten, man.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? The details that blew my mind when I was reading that comic was because obviously it's Alistair, Varric, and Isabella going off on an adventure, which is like, cool. Not something I really saw Alistair and Varric and Isabella hanging out, all those three together, but sure, good stuff. And when they go and meet now Arashok, he calls Alistair Kadan. I was like, when the fuck did that happen?
I guess they got friendly at some point. I didn't see it happen, but okay.
Yeah, really.
Because he just used to get really annoyed with him in the main game because he's so childish and stuff. So
were they just posing for like romance paperbacks in like the forest or something by the lake?
Yeah.
It's like like the Lusty Sword or something, like the Forbidden Templar.
I'd read it.
Romance. Oh, we know we would. So, I was mentioning this just before we started recording, but since this is the first all-girl podcast, and I did just mention romance novels, I now feel compelled to bring up, favourite romances, best up.
Favourite? Alistair and Cullen, they rank pretty highly.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm totally not into that clean-cut blonde.
No, I'm not normally.
And then Alistair and Cullen turn up. It's like, god damn it, BioWare.
It's just the personalities for me. Like they could have looked like the back end of a bus. I mean, I quite like Ogren. To be honest, I probably would have romanced him because he's hilarious. Like,
yeah.
And I still want Varric. I'm still going to sulk about that forever.
I was going to say you're gunning hard for Varric. Yeah.
I've always been partial to, I guess, Solus and Fenris. I guess I just have a thing for guys leaving me. I don't know.
I don't in real life, but I can see the attraction. I mean, I kind of like Solus, and I would have romanced him if it wasn't for Cullen, you know? I've tried, but the minute he talks, I'm like, God damn it, Cullen.
My favourite Tumblr post I think I ever came across was... if you stare at yourself in the mirror in a Dragon Age game, turn around 3 times and say, I can't, you will summon a sad elf boyfriend.
It's true, though.
It is true, because both Fenris and Solus say, I can't, at some point, and it's all in the dramatic scene of leaving you. It's like,
oh, fuck you then, bollocks.
Stop messing with my feels, BioWare.
Stupid elves.
stupid, sexy elves with their
stupid, sexy knife ears.
Voices. It's like, I want it, but I shouldn't want it. But then again, in DA2, it's like, right, what are my options? I've got super sexy lady pirate. It's like, cool, good stuff. I've got slightly scatterbrained blood mage who may or may not end up slaughtering her entire clan, which I did first time by accident.
Yeah, me too.
It's very easy to accidentally do that shit. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, Paragon, let them live, a diplomatic let them live, or aggressive slaughter them all. It's like oh yeah, unless you pick, like, I think it was like the middle option.
It's really obscure, and you're like, shit.
Yeah. You have to, like, take responsibility for actions, which, like, I don't think many people would do, because it's technically not your fault.
Right,
so.
exactly.
Yeah. Like, this ain't me.
I didn't do it.
Backing out of this, man.
Yeah, and then you've got Anders, which, kaboom,
what a pain in the ass.
Like, not to mention, like, I find it kind of hysterical. Anders is like, almost like, because a few people like had like, oh yeah, compared him to Edward Cullen, because he's that guy who's...
He was a bit of an Edward and Jacob situation between
if you're attracted to him, if you're attracted to Anders, then he's like, oh, I can't live without you. But if you're kind of like on the fence, or like trying to be like, oh, is it Fenris or Anders, or maybe Isabella, the fact that Anders' first reaction to being flirted with by you is like, oh, but we can't all be
I was like, all right,
together.
fine then.
Because I'm possessed. And it's like, calm down, dude, seriously.
I like how offended he gets if you mention it is kind of like a threesome because of justice. He's like, oh,
please.
I was like, well, it kind of is, to be fair.
The funniest thing though is if you really have a sick sense of humour like I do, is sleep with him and then dump him, because
I've done that.
He says
the face on it.
The face on it is hysterical, and he says, what? Why? And Hawk just shrugs and says, you just weren't that good.
Yeah. It's just the face he makes. It's brilliant.
Like Ice Queen Hawk. Jesus Christ. Oh man. So favourite romance. Who's your favourite female character in the whole Dragon Age universe?
Aveline.
I think probably Isabella.
Love Aveline.
Yeah, Isabella is very harmonious. I find it hard. I think Flemeth for
Because
me,
she's
or
fun.
Flemeth or
Flemeth
Morrigan.
too, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard to. Or technically
and
Shale.
Lace Harding as well.
Yeah. Oh, that was. I got it. Did you guys see the story David Gator posted about the pigeons?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Was this recently?
Yeah. Okay, so yes, he posted a story about he used to have a window office around the time he was writing Dragon Age Origins.
Oh yeah, I did hear about this one. They kept shagging on the windowsill and he was getting annoyed with them.
But that's what he said, like, it's a shitfall sit, and then they're having loud, violent, angry sex scenes. And then Shale came out of it, and I was like, wow, Shale makes so much more sense now.
It's like, okay, I get her motivation now.
Yeah, kill all the birds. It's great.
Well, it's good that it inspired him.
That's another thread I desperately want to see come back, because it's like, oh yeah, maybe Shale or maybe not is running around as a restored dwarf now. It's like, please, can we get confirmation of that? Come on. Yeah. What's going on there?
Speaking about Dragon Age and RPGs in general, this is still kind of relevant, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a Kickstarter up for a game called The Waylanders, I think it's called, and it's got Mike Laidlaw's part of it now. And there's a surprise writer, and I'm pretty sure it's David Gader. They haven't announced it yet, but I'm like 99.9% sure. And it's heavily based on, heavily inspired, by the likes of Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age Origins. So even if, Dragon Age gets changed into something we don't recognise, like a Destiny ripoff or whatever, there is Waylanders, which really looks good. So if you guys are looking for another RPG while you're waiting for Dragon Age 4 to come out, definitely check that out.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I've been trying to find an excuse to get it. I think I was just looking for kind of maybe a little bit more footage of it, but then they showed it and it looks good, because it's
there's not much out
there's
yet.
2 different time periods, and it looks so good.
Yeah. Do they have a projected release date on that?
Hang on, if I just send you over the link. Even some of the enemies look a bit Dragon Age-y. But it's going to have romance, and it's going to have you've got 8 characters, companions, and it looks like there's a different choice of races you can play. I assume it's probably going to be customizable since it's an RPG.
Be still my beating heart. So
yeah, I'm just this looks potentially
draw me like one
really
of your
good.
French girls, Mr. Laidlaw.
And you can play it top down, or it looks like you can scroll right in and stuff. So I think that'll be pretty good.
It's fun.
It looks good, yeah.
Oh, you can play a Cyclops. Oh.
I don't think I'd want to play as a Cyclops. That's not very sexy, is it? How am I supposed to, seduce everyone?
Know, man.
Well, no, tell her that, because what's her face from Futurama? She was hot, and she was a Cyclops.
Leela.
Yeah, there you go. So you want to play as Lulu in a fantasy game?
Yeah, purple hair.
Leela, not Lilu. Lilu is from The Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah, that's Fifth Element, isn't it?
Yeah.
Close enough.
No, don't get me wrong.
I like
Lilu,
her
totally.
too.
Yes, she's great. I just had that image in my head. I was sort of squished together Leela and Lilu. They're all just having, a conversation.
Big bada boom.
Multipass.
Multipass.
Anyway, I had a thought I was going to say, and now I can't remember what it is. Oh, yeah. You know what mythological creature never gets enough representation as a player character? Why no sirens? Why no sexy sirens? Because they're not like mermaids.
Or the horse
they just
guys.
Sing.
The ones with the horse
centaurs.
bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, centaurs?
Or Yeah, like Naga as well, which are half woman, half snake. Is why isn't that more of a thing? Half animal people. Why,
I feel like they only get made use as enemies in JRPGs.
Yes, like Persona.
Yeah, like Persona 5 and stuff.
Yeah. It's a shame. More weird,
sexy mythical creatures, please.
Yes! More shit that is impossible to animate. And so we can cause all the animation team to have heart attacks. Yeah, do more of that. My favourite offhand bit of Dragon Age trivia I know is because I read the Green Ronin tabletop book on it. They actually have sea monsters, giant sea serpents just off the coast of Kunadar called Aban Atashi. And if you remember the conversation Iron Bull has, Atashi means dragon and Aban
so it's like a sea
means
dragon, basically.
So sea dragon is give me,
that would be fun.
Fight one of those in game. I want to.
I mean, generally I hate anything where I have to control a boat because I'm really bad at it. But I think if there was sea monsters that were genuinely interesting and mythical, that could be quite fun.
Yeah.
That'd be great to bring back Isabella too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go hunting sea monsters with Isabella. Oh man,
that would be really good.
Call us BioWare. We have ideas.
We got good ideas.
Totally.
And hire me as a voice actor.
And totally feasibly creatable ideas. Sure, just put in the centaurs and the mermaids and the giant sea.
We'll voice all of them for you.
Yep.
Free of charge.
You can just stop the game. Yeah, free of charge, and then you can just cut to us with little. Paper mache things going smooch. Ooh, Solus, you love me so much. Yeah. Speaking of, this was a question I wanted to ask you guys, was do you guys think Solus is actually redeemable, or like it's just going to end with us killing him at best?
I really want him to be, but I also feel like bittersweetness for that would be kind of cool, even though I'd be really salty about it. I mean, I can understand his motivation. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's sorry. I interrupted you. I think the only way Solus would stop is that if his goal is completed, or if we were some sort of compromise.
Right.
I don't know how we're going to compromise it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
like,
if
there's
it's
not much to go far back from. So the end of the world, and what do you have to offer? It's like, not the end of the world.
Right. It's like,
how about that?
It's like the end of our world, the end of their world, or maybe just mingle them in between so everything goes back to like crazy things floating around, you know, because the Fade would then be part of the real world.
But that's kind of what he's after.
I feel like that would be something that would happen in the final ever game, because then maybe they'd show you in like slides, everything all like magical and fantasy looking.
I wonder if they could do like a bubble of not the Veil, I guess, around like Arlathan, and the elves just have a country like in a bubble.
Wouldn't they just attack us anyway, though? Because it's the elves.
Maybe. But if that's like a peaceful thing, then perhaps that.
Or they can have a different realm, you know?
Yeah. Well.
Maybe. I mean, that's what the Veil kind of was. It was separating two bits off. If they had like one side and we had the other, if they could make it look pretty. Because as it stands,
they can just have the crossroads. That's already pretty.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if they just use those, they can build a world within a world, can't they? In a way, and we just won't go in there because we're not allowed or something.
What's it called? The word for the land that was given to the Native Americans. I can't remember what it is. I wanted to say plantation, but that's not right. Reservation. That's it. Reservation. It's like, here's your elven reservation, and you're going to stay in your little spot. Yeah. Like,
but isn't that what the elves do already? Elven reservations, except for they keep getting turfed out every 5 minutes and having to move to different forests.
It's a little inconsistent. That is like I mentioned this with AD last time. It's like I'm desperate to see the Arlaf Ven, which is the big collection of all the Dalish clans that happens every like 10 years or something. Like, it's time, BioWare. It's time. We need to see it.
I feel like the elves have been shown kind of boring so far. Not like they're the commoner elves, but they're, you know, the proper Dalish. They feel kind of boring. I wish they'd kind of
It's because they're kind of xenophobic. Because they're kind of isolationist and xenophobic. It's like, well, there's only one note to really play with that. It's like, you can show individuals in that, but it's like, halt, outsider, you're not welcome here. It's like, oh, gee, that's the last thing the last 5 Dalish clans said to me. Thanks a lot.
This is why I think they should have brought back the playable prologues. Because then if you were a Dalish, you know, you could just piddle around and be Dalish a little bit longer than what you did in, like, Origins. Because it was so restricted, the engine back then, that, you know, you just do one little area. It's kind of boring. Stuff happens and then you leave. But with the engine as it is now, with Frostbite, whatever, 5.0 or whatever the shit it is, I think it could be potentially really good and pretty and interesting.
I'm still heartbroken over Tamlin. Like,
I mean, he was a moody elf and all. I can't. Well, great, bugger off then.
But just when he's at that moment, because there were a few moments in Dragon Age Origins that just, you know, when you jump from one origin to the next and something comes out of the blue, it's like, oh shit, that's what that was. You know, you suddenly have the greater context for it, like why Al Howe is such a bastard to the Kuzans in particular, that sort of thing. But I remember just being in camp and just seeing something in this, and it's like, what the hell is that? And then it's a shriek. It's like, what's he saying? He's like, always loved you. And
I was like, oh no,
I'm gonna
can't we save him?
Oh, it's so painful. It's just, there's so many moments, especially in Origins, which is just like, oh, we're just going to kick you repeatedly in the gut and you're going to like us for it.
I really liked that, how each class was, the origin stories for it were all tailored specifically for each class, and then they would sort of appear throughout the game, and the other classes wouldn't get that because it's only specifically for that story, for that type of protagonist. I really liked that.
I'm still salty that what's his name, Gorham, the guy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, for example,
fine Dwarven Cross.
That
it's like,
bastard.
we were gonna get married, Gorham, and he's
shove your
just
fine
like
Dwarven Cross up your ass.
Yeah.
He moved on quick too, because by the time you meet him, he's like his wife's already pregnant.
Well, to be fair, I was trying to bed down on Alistair by that point, so you know, can't be too angry.
Like, oh, sorry, what's your name again? Love of my life, former love of my life.
So it's all right. I found someone better looking. See you later.
Besides, he's human, so the height thing is kind of a beneficial.
It's a bit of a kink
for all
now,
involved. Yeah. I want to see more than anything. Actually, this is just something I'll jump on as something to throw out to you guys first before I say my pick. Which characters, not necessarily companions, would you want to see come back, if anything, because you didn't like where one of the games took them, or you think they deserve a second shot, or what? What do you want to do?
Varric, so I can steal him away from Bianca because she's horrible and not very nice. And I don't know why he's wasting his time moping after her.
While I agree with that, I kind of liked where his story ended in Inquisition, where he's now the Viscount of Kirkwall.
That too, but I just want to romance him.
That was great. All of the epilogue stuff was great that happened in Trespasser.
Oh yeah.
It was just like, I felt like in the Inquisition main game, he didn't really have too far to go, because like his thing in 2 was like, oh, I'm an unreliable narrator, so my implied character growth is kind of something you have to look into, and that was kind of rewarding for someone who's paying attention. Yeah. But then when it's Inquisition, it's like, oh, I'm responsible for all the Red Lyrium shit, and it's like, well,
I feel bad.
You're demonstrably not. Yeah. You're demonstrably not, Varric.
No, it's
like, I'm sorry, there's a mountain of this shit. It's not all on you. So even that didn't really have much teeth for me. But him saying, like, all the stuff with him and Hawke was perfect, totally spot on. And my little shiver heart grew about 6 sizes when he was like, oh, you people have done enough to her. It's like, yeah, he loves me so much.
I couldn't be angry for him. Like, when you had the chance to side with Cassandra or him, I was like, well, obviously Varric, and plus, we played as Hawke, so we know, and we're just like, no, he's well within his right to try and protect him. Plus, like, Cassandra was scary as shit in the second game, so, I wouldn't want to tell her. She might stab me or something.
Well, she stabbed him in the book.
Right, yeah.
And Caitie, what's your pick?
Oh boy, I kind of want to see Zevran again. Like, he's supposed to be dismantling the crows.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, that was my pick. You stole my pick. Yeah, I want to see, like, bear in mind there's a lot of fan art of him with, like, his, like, have you seen that one for the, it's not fan art, but it was the World of Thedas one, where he's got, like, a crow outfit, and he looks super hot in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know how BioWare could kill me? It's like, you know what we're doing? We're doing a side game where Zevran hangs out with Reyes. It's like, oh, let me play that forever.
Oh, man. I would love to see him in updated graphics, too, because, like, he kind of didn't date very well.
He looked weird in the second one.
In the second one, they gave him the elf.
Yeah, he looked well weird.
Character model, and it looked really weird on him.
Yeah, he needs a good update, and I think he deserves to be the next game just for that alone.
Yeah.
And obviously Dorian again, because it looks like we're heading his way anyway, so that would be cool.
I said that was more like a self-indulgent. If BioWare said, okay, here's a token, and
pick
you
one,
write the name of the character, they get to be in the game no matter what. So that would be Zevran for me.
It'd be kind of sad to see him, though, because David Gator's not going to ride him,
Well, I mean, at least you can't kill him off. Then again, we don't know what Patrick Weeks is like. That's what scares me. Bringing back old companions and protagonists, I'm just like, okay, who are you going to try and kill off this time? And that worries me. So in a way, I kind of don't want to see any of them and just like let them just be happy.
Hide them in a box.
Like,
you can't have them, Patrick.
Kill them off.
Stop it, Patrick. They're safe and they're mine. You can't find
leave
them.
alone.
Well, that's the only reason probably why Zevran is still with the Warden, because the other 3 romance options had to be an Inquisition.
Yeah.
Because I was like in Inquisition, I was like, okay, so we've got Leliana. That's cool. She's a spy master and she's part of the Inquisition, so she's in the game a lot. That's cool. We know Alistair's definitely in the game. That's cool. We know Morrigan's definitely in the game. That's cool. Where's my special boy? Come on. Where's my chain-loving Antivan guy? Come on. and then he just appeared in like a war table mission. I was like,
yeah, I feel
cheated?
like there's plenty of things he could do in this new game because again he is like an assassin. He could go anywhere,
especially
so
if it's going to be a more low-level character, like not straight to we're the Inquisitor.
That's right. Yeah, if it's true that like the rumors that we might be working for the Inquisition and stuff, then if we're spying around, then having someone like Zevran help us briefly or whatever would actually work really well. As long as he doesn't get killed.
I just want to go to an Anthem ball where we get to hang out with Anthem crows. Is that so much to
As long as we can actually get drunk and stuff. I felt like we couldn't do too much
it felt very
mingling
static, that
in
party,
Inquisition.
Didn't it? Because it's like you could talk to the characters that they allowed you to talk to, most of which were your own damn party.
And the problem with being someone important and official and the leader of this Inquisition is that, you can't go mingle off with all the ruffians or, get into trouble too much because you need to be there on your best behaviour as far as they're concerned because you're the face of something, of an organisation. Whereas if you're just some spy, if you want to go in there and like get so drunk you throw up in the flower bed or whatever, great.
Yeah, I think Sarah was kind of one woman armying that side of the party.
Right, yeah.
But, one thing I thought was hilarious in hindsight after I made my first playthrough is at the ball there's sort of two dwarves at the back having a conversation. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, Harrowmont's like sealed the city off, or like Balin's made strides, or something to that effect. And I was like, was that the only fucking mention of Orzammar in the entire game?
and like Varric was hiding anyway. It took me ages to find him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand things. I have this utter resentment for games where they put, collect the statues to open the doors, or anything which like, do this thing to open the doors, and you have a finite amount of them, and by collecting them all, you still can't unlock all the doors.
Especially if you're a rogue, it's like, why don't I just pick up the door?
Mm-hmm. Why? Or if I'm a warrior, why don't I just take this? Just.
And if I'm a mage, why don't I just magically unlock it? So really, just let us unlock the doors.
Yeah.
How did all the other people get in there? Did they get locked inside? Like
secret tunnel or something.
Oh, thank God you found us. We've been stuck down there.
Yeah, we couldn't get out again. Magic bookcase locked.
We've had to live entirely on cheese that tastes of despair. We don't know what to do now. Oh man. Favorite DLC?
Oh, Trespasser.
Trespasser, yeah.
Yeah. It is the most.
It's very
story
sweet,
content.
It's funny and it's sad. It's just kind of everything, all in one.
Mm-hmm. Plus, where else are you going to give Bull a giant dragon skull for his birthday?
That was brilliant. That's got to suck if he rejoins the Canary. If you killed off his charges, I just gave you a gift and you just do this to me. Thanks. He probably told him. They probably gave him a birthday, like because he'd become un-Kunari. They probably just picked him one. It's like, right, it's your birthday now. Probably when he found the charges first or something, and they decided that was his birthday.
Oh damn! I want Krem in the next game. Damn it! I want him in the next game.
Oh, that'd be cute.
He's so good. Yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Iron Bull again.
I would love to see him and Dorian interact in the next game.
Iron Bull. Well, yeah, in theory, if like Dorian's in it, then Iron Bull probably will be, even just to like hang out with him or something, because they got on quite well.
You know the scene between Liam and Jarl in Mass Effect Andromeda, where they're just like, Jarl just walks out naked. Wouldn't it be hysterical if you had to go like, go meet with Dorian, and Bull just walks out naked, and it's just like.
Yeah, we were bonding.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, fans are like, yeah!
And there he is.
I love that he
walks out.
Yeah, I love that his reaction though to
big grey arse
the past. Spy master of the Inquisition after he's just had the absolute, not given the Inquisitor the night of their life is nope, let him rest. Like, what did you do to me, Paul? I assume I enjoyed it, but yeah, what did you do?
Oh yeah, I'd like to know.
Show me on the doll, Bull. Show me when you touched me. Anyway, oh god. Any characters you can think of that you would think, oh, they would make a great romance, and they haven't done yet. I know Varric. Yes, we
Varric.
know. Except for Varric. Because Varric is too popular. You need to pick another one.
Oh, let me have a think. Lace Harding, obviously.
Yeah.
Because
BioWare just teased us with that.
God, there are so many characters that aren't companions that I'm trying to think through now.
I'm
Can we
convinced.
choose book characters?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I'm convinced maybe
I really
Talani
liked
is gonna
Reese
be...
in Asunder.
Oh,
Yes, but
good
didn't
choice.
he pair up with Thingy? I forgot her
Evangeline.
name.
We're not going to talk about that. We're going to
What was
break
her
him up.
name?
He's mine.
Eventually.
That was it, yeah.
She don't love him like I do.
She died.
honey.
What a
She-
shame.
It's like, oh yeah, the spirit of faith went away. She's a corpse now. Guess
Yeah.
you're single. Ready
She went
to
back to
mingle.
her own planet and died on the way there. What a shame.
She will be missed. But anyway, Reese, baby, how you doing? I love your beard.
Oh, the amount of like, especially like American fans, or no offense, but calling you Rice, and I'm like, it's Reese. It's Reese.
Reese,
It's
yeah.
not Rice. Stop calling him Rice. And but I would go with Mayvaris Talani because I think a transgender romance is totally gonna
I forgot
happen.
about her.
And she's
I feel like
amazing.
she will be in the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I want to romance her. I want to know her secret.
I think she'll be far too good for us. It'll be like another Vivian situation.
I was going to say, Vivienne was actually the comparison I was going to use, that she's sort of Vivienne but approachable, or maybe
yeah,
sort
but,
of like,
but not so up herself, yeah.
yeah, but like in between like Dorian and Vivienne.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, so Tevinter Magister, but is charming and knows how to play the game, but
Yeah,
has their own,
not a complete arsehole.
yeah, but has their own deeply rooted insecurities, and it's like, and besides, like, she was already married to Varric's cousin. It's like
That's
that,
right. Well, maybe if you play as a dwarf, she'll have a bit of a thing for you. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Like,
Oh, like a dwarf-only romance. That'd be cool.
that would be cool, especially for a non-dwarf companion as well. So that would be
Yeah.
good. I just speaking of like romances with different races in Dragon Age, I find it hysterical because I love playing. For some reason, I love playing the super skinny elf just because I think I'm quite skinny in life. So I just feel that I feel that's easy to project onto. But just the idea of making my super teeny tiny skinny elf romance bull and just be like,
I like the dwarf one for that, just because it has a little box that he or she will stand on to sort of make out with him and things.
I'm amazed, like, because they have the little animation of bull smacking your ass. It's like, how low does he have to bend to do that to a
But he's got a very
dwarf?
long arm, so he's probably all right.
Well, that's the other thing I found hysterical in Dragon Age Origins was playing a dwarf character because they clearly just stuck human arms onto the dwarf.
Yeah.
Because they had like arms down to their shins. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were just very long. Bless them.
It's like, do dwarves get like a bonus for reach or something? Because if they punch you in the face, they just get to punch further.
I can't imagine they're very flexible.
No. Oh man.
They're so muscly. Like I just couldn't imagine them doing gymnastics.
Very
or anything.
dense. Very dense.
Yeah. Chonk, I think that's called.
Which companion could you happily just sort of never see again?
Sebastian.
Sebastian. No, actually, I do want to see. No, I want to see Sebastian again because I want to grind his face into the dirt and just be like,
I mean,
you
yeah.
are nothing.
Just so he's like, Mika, no. It's like, yeah.
I could
Mika,
happily never see Valana again.
Yeah, a lot of the ones from Origins DLCs, I'm not too fussed about.
I would be okay with never seeing Ogden again.
Oh, Nathaniel Howe though. If they could somehow bring him back so we could romance him, that'd be great.
Sigrun was pretty great as well, and Shale was technically DLC for Origins.
Oh yeah, no,
so,
she's brilliant though. But I mean, like the boring ones that everyone forgets from Origins.
Or was it
All the
Finn?
Awakening ones. No one cared about
Or
them.
how about the Witch
except
Hunt
for like
ones?
obviously Nathaniel Howe and Anders, who's already had his time, and
Yeah.
the fun ones they could all come back, but the boring ones, nah.
I love that we're just kind of like picking a harem of all the characters. Like, oh yeah, I have that one, and because he's cute, and that one because he's cute, and that one because she's
And this
cute.
one's interesting, and that one,
Yeah.
well, basically.
Yeah. But what else do you kind of do with sequels? You just kind of think like, okay, I think this person would kind of fit in this space, and I like this character a lot. So yeah, of course they're coming with. It's like, do you do that thing in Dragon Age that I do, which is you pick your party entirely against all logical like party construction. You just think, that's my boyfriend, that's my best friend.
Oh, this one's my favourite, this one's funny, I like these two together because I like their banter, and it's nothing to do with balancing it out for combat at all. I'll struggle through it just for the banter because they're my favourites.
The amount of time in 2 I spent with Fenris and Anders just to watch them bitch and be jealous over each other. Yeah. I think my favourite one was when I did a playthrough where I think I slept with Fenris and then went with Anders afterwards.
Oh yeah, and, the banter for that's brilliant. Yeah, especially if you sleep with all of them.
Yeah, I had Isabella with me, and if Fenris said something like, "Be good to her, yes, otherwise I'll rip your heart out of your chest." I was like, "Ooh!" And then Isabella says, "Oh, get over yourselves. You're like 2 dogs around a bitchin' heat." And Fenris, I swear to God, says, "We were talking about Hawk, not you." Oh, I love Fenris so much. He's my favourite.
I like his voice actor. He's cool.
And you know, he said on Twitter recently that he's thinking about cosplaying as Fenris. I don't think.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Well, I mean, it would be awesome, but also not, because he's built like a brick shithouse, isn't he? And Fenris really
actually
isn't.
He's not that svelte. He's not that. No? He's a little bit broader than Fenris is, but Fenris is, you know, an elf, so he's very slim. Yeah. But he's not that brick shithousey. For lack of a better
he looks like he's a bit of a unit, I thought.
I think not like when
chubby,
he was in
like built.
He was in COD and he got in a bit of a unit size for that, but most of his other roles he's quite slim.
It could pull it off then, maybe. I don't know, the hair might look a bit odd. I feel like you need to be quite a feminine looking man, at least like physically, like build wise, to kind of get away with pulling off Dragon Age elves, you know?
Got some extra money by working doing people's makeup at conventions, a very lucrative business, as you can imagine. And she said that there was this German guy who was by her accounts the most perfect Fenris she has ever seen in her life, and also quite gay, but she was very happily just doing all the tattoos over his quote perfect abs. And I was like, wow, how much were you like salivating over there? And I was like, oh, you have no idea. I was on top of him when he was in leather and his shirt open, and I was drawing on his abs. It was like, you have no idea how much self-control that took.
Well, good for that guy.
Yeah.
So someone is a lucky man out there.
Oh yeah. In fact, I think because she pointed me out, I think he's a guy who does who makes GIFs on Tumblr in the Fenris cosplay, mostly making out with Anders.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's like, I'll be in my bunk. Sort of like anime hide your nosebleed or something like that. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
If you could design a romance for Dragon Age 4, like the perfect romance.
Perfect romance.
I think it's already been done with Alistair.
So would Alistair come back then?
No, because then they might kill him off. I don't know. I think someone that's funny, but maybe not like childish, but just like
slightly like immature, so with
funny.
enough room to grow. You know.
I don't know.
You know what my perfect romance would be?
Who?
A harem. Just like all of the Dragon Age love interests, and I get to go over to them and just have, you know, my own special romance with them. And they can have romances with each other. I'm not like, you know, I'm not a monster. It's like, by all means, get it on with each other. It's just, God, can you imagine like the combinations that would happen? That would be bizarre. Like, oh yes, I'm Ironball, and here's my new boyfriend, Zebran. Those two, I would love those two to meet, actually. They would get on like a house on fire.
Oh yeah, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I can already imagine the banter of Zebran going like, you know, I've never been with a Canary before.
Bold of you to assume he hasn't. Like, if you were to have, is there a particular, I'm trying to phrase this properly, faction that you think hasn't properly been represented? Like, I'd love to see a Ravani Seer. I think that would be awesome. I want to see like an Antivan noble that isn't Josephine outside of Antiva. It's like, Antiva's far too interesting to have this like Venetian like masquerade with assassins and stuff. Like, I want to go there. Let's go there. That's cool. Damn it.
I feel like, you know, theirs is a lot of sort of stalking around in the shadows, backstabbing, and but also like outright poisoning each other, and so it just sounds like a lot of fun. I wanna be part of that.
I question your definition of fun there.
Well, you know, because like if you look at the Elysians, they're all kind of, when they're battling, it's like a battle of wits and stuff, and I quite like it, but I also like the idea of just being a complete arsehole in Antiva, just running around like poisoning people and stabbing people and just generally being loud and irritating.
Have
But
you
also
seen those
like
18th
stalking in the
century
shadows
rings?
and being very good at stealth.
Have you ever seen those 18th century rings that actually open up so they contain, and with a little skull on the inside to contain poison?
Yeah, so the powder falls in. Yeah, I want one of those.
Yeah.
Just in real life as well.
Oh yeah. Like just not with like lethal poison, just like laxatives. Just be like,
Yeah, it's like, right, you annoy me now, you're gonna shit for a
you're an
week.
asshole. Enjoy.
Yeah.
See, I'm fun to have around.
I would like to see someone from the Anderfells.
Oh yeah, we
Ooh,
haven't
yes.
even seen that place. have
Especially
we?
since like isn't that the reason Anders is called Anders, because that's
Yeah,
not
that's
his
not
real
even his
name,
real
is because
name
he's
or
from the
something.
Anderfields.
Yeah, his father was from the Anderfells. He was actually born in like Ferelden or something like that. So like it's only vaguely
Maybe he
related.
just looks very Anderfells-ish. Maybe they're very blonde and pale.
Oh, what if you go to Anderfells and like literally everyone looks like Anders?
Well, and
Like,
just
they
walks
all look
around.
the same.
And everyone's voiced by Greg Ellis. Like,
jeez.
oh my god, you all sound the same. You all
Even the
sound
women.
like Cullen.
Yeah. They've all got his face. There's some of the women, but they still got Anders' face. That'd be brilliant. That's like that
full-grown
scene
man's
in Red
face.
Dead Redemption 2 when like they get drunk and he's looking for Lenny and everyone becomes Lenny, including the women.
Oh, that's so good. What would you say your favorite, like, theory that has potential to actually be true is?
The thing about the oh god, what are they called? The Titans, and how I read this theory that perhaps they were like the problem for the elves, and that's why they like separated themselves off and things, because they were causing all this trouble. There was like this weird big theory about it. I can't remember all of it because I read it ages ago, like when the game first sort of came out. Sorry, the DLC for it. God, what was it? So I think they felt like maybe the Titans was trying to destroy the world or do something. I can't remember. And the reason they're in slumber was because the veil was put up. I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. But it was fascinating anyway.
Yeah, I love coming up with weird theories like that. But my favourite one is because it's too much of a coincidence not to be true, is that the Evanuris and the old gods are one and the same, because and that their dragon forms, whatever
Yeah,
those
it's like
are,
they're two together. Like,
yeah, because especially
two
since it's
halves of
like,
a whole.
okay, so there's the same amount. They're ones that have been linked to this, because like June and Andruil, and they all the blights link up to dragons that are kind of similar to.
And if you look, Corypheus, he couldn't die, could he? Because he'd attached himself to the dragon that then became corrupted. Perhaps that's the same
But he wasn't an
theory
archdemon,
and
though.
concept for these elves. If they've somehow like joined themselves together, like somehow part of their soul went into the dragon or whatever, and so that's why they lived so long as they did. Because I don't think they were immortal, were they? They just kind of
They
lived
were
for a
just
really
like,
long
yeah,
time.
because all
And maybe
elves
that's
were
the
There's
thing.
actually a
immortal.
banter about that between Cassandra and Solus.
Really? I don't think
that
they
was-
call that one.
Yeah, no. Cassandra like says something along lines like, "Hey, Solus is the is the dragons like somehow related to the elven god?" Something along the lines of that. And Solus essentially said, "I don't think so."
Liar.
So I don't know if that's just Solus being Solus and kind of dancing around.
Yeah,
the,
or maybe
the-
it was
the
something
answer.
they were trying to figure out.
The biggest Chekhov's gun that's just like, here, there, have a thing.
Yeah.
I bet we're not going to do
the thing
anything
is-
with that in the sequel. Was like the banter between Solus and Dorian, where after you encounter Corypheus for the first time, like properly, and Jory says, that orb he has, there's a bunch of ones like that in Tevinter. They're called Somnivorium, and we study them. Have you heard anything about that, Solus? And you can practically see Solus like steeple his fingers and go, excellent.
Is that
like,
good
there's
to know?
no way that isn't
That's
gonna
probably
get
why
used.
he's going to Tevinter.
Exactly.
It's like, shit, I can grab some orbs, do some practice.
And what
eat them.
if each of the orbs is like specific to that Evanuris? But
Right,
don't
yeah.
forget, he's actually two Evanuris at this point because he took Mythal's soul. So what if he's going
Yeah,
after
that's correct.
Mythal's orb specifically?
Yeah. If he's after all the orbs for, you know, his reasons, which are still kind of unknown, apart from, you know, getting rid of us and bringing everything back to his old ways, you know, if he gets all of the orbs, what's that going to do?
You thought
Does he need
Corypheus
them
was a
for
threat with
something?
one orb? I have two orbs, bitches!
Right, because he was going to use the orb to open up, like, the veil and everything properly
Yeah.
and do whatever it was he was doing. But what are the rest of the
be,
orbs
like,
for?
charged or something. He needed to be infused with
Yeah.
some amount of power.
Right, yeah, exactly. Do you need all of the orbs in order to unlock something so that he can do his thing? You know, are they all like keys to a big lock?
I want the answers.
I don't know about the orbs. Like, you can see a whole bunch of broken ones in the Via Dirthara, so I feel like...
Maybe they were used
I
for
don't
something
know.
else originally.
Yeah, maybe, like, that was the one special one. Maybe there are a bunch of special ones, and that was just flavor, ruin, I don't
I
know.
haven't played that bit in so long. I was just like, I think I was too busy being like, these goddamn mirrors. I don't like these mirrors. I don't like the upside downy bit. Just like bits that are like, okay, I get mazes. I like mazes. Just bits that are like, okay, now you're upside down. I don't like being upside down, or just like at a slant. It just for some reason that map bothered me. Just that little bit right at the end with the library just kind of got on my nerves. The rest of the
Well, when we were
DLC was
going
perfect.
through
Oh,
all
I
the
love it.
when we were going through all the Alluvians and stuff in their special little areas that they can get to and from everywhere, and I've forgotten what he said it was called. It was in the novel,
library,
but
yeah.
I was expecting to see the other characters that weren't Elven kind of suffering the effects, because it's supposed to give you terrible headaches and make you kind of dizzy if you're not
Have
Elven.
you seen the
you
comparison
don't see an awful
between
lot of that.
how it looks for human or non-elf characters to elf characters?
Pardon? Say that
Because
again?
there is a visual difference. It's not necessarily noticeable the first time around, but when you see side by side, it is a little brighter. There are a few more like plants and trees and like flowers in that area when you're an elf. I'll see if I can track it down and send it to you, the sort of side by side comparison, because I was like, ooh.
Because the first time I obviously
sky
played
is
as
more
a
colourful
human,
too, yeah.
and then I didn't play it again for ages until like the beginning of this year as an elf, and I guess it must have been too long in between because I didn't notice any difference at all.
It's really slight. Like, you really have to see it side by side to be like, oh yeah, there is a difference.
Well, I was kind of expecting, like, as a human or a dwarf or a Canary to go, oh, my head's killing me or something, and there was no sort of reference to that like there was in the books and things. Or in the book, sorry. What was the one that had it had Michelle in it and all that? Michael, Michelle, however you pronounce it.
Mass Empire.
Yeah. That's the one.
That was the one when we went through the
With
Illuvians
Riala
and they
and
went
going through the
yeah,
Illuvians.
because they were definitely referencing like, oh, you know, it's making me slower and I've got this headache, and the elves were like, what? No, I'm fine. What's wrong with you?
And what
sort
was
of thing.
the,
So I was really expecting that to be a thing.
What was the password again? Fenharel
Oh, God.
Anast. Fenharel
Fenharel Magalana or something. It's like Fenharel Guide Me or something.
Yeah, so basically Solus was right, I'll use my name, my nickname and stuff as a password.
It would be like Hawk saying, all right, the password is champion of Kirkwall rules, okay?
Yeah. Hawk is the best forever. 1, 2, 3, 4.
War Machine rocks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love this universe so much. It's great. It's kind of ridiculous in how ridiculous it is at times. What's your favourite theory that you know has absolutely no chance of being true, but you can't help but love it anyway?
Oh, there was that Cullen is the Dreadwolf. What was great.
What?
Yeah. I can't remember what the proof
I had
was,
not
but
heard of
it was
that.
just like a very long post basically setting down like, oh no, he was manipulating Solus. He's the real Dreadwolf. So.
Okay. That is not what I've
can't
heard, but
remember.
I'm impressed.
I've heard so many terrible theories that I can't think of any.
The one I have is the one that just comes from my brain, and I don't think I've read it anywhere, but I just cannot stop thinking about it every time the comparison occurs to me, which is, what if Cullen and Anders are actually brothers? It's like, they look kind of similar, they're both blonde, and they have the same voice.
They got the same voice at one time, yeah.
Because, you know, that's how brothers work. They have the same voice. Right. Oh, man. But yeah, that's sort of my favourite, if anything, because it makes me crack up every single time I think about, like, Cullen interacting with Anders at all.
Oh no, there was a really stupid one what I thought was very funny, and it was that mages could use sex to curb lyrium addiction because they're magical, which means that their genitalia must be magical and lyrium filled as well, because obviously they consume it. And I thought that was funny. It just came to me just then.
That reminds me of there was a Spider-Man comic run that they did where Mary Jane got cancer and died because Spider-Man's sperm, due to being
was radioactive.
Yeah, it was radioactive.
Oh my god!
It's like, why would you do that? What is wrong with you people?
Worth it.
Oh my god!
I got laid by Spider-Man.
Worth it. Yeah.
Would they have radioactive babies then?
Would they be spider babies though? Since his DNA was
at one point
would they come out with like 8 legs?
At one point he did mutate to become a genuine slightly bipedal spider man with 8 legs, with 8 limbs rather.
That must have been handy though, just running up the walls and stuff.
Well, he was kind of feral at the time, so it wasn't really.
It's just that you ate flies instead of like regular food.
Like, oh no, if only I could find flies
stop
big enough
spinning webs
to
everywhere.
sustain
Just
me.
clean that up.
Feel like in Doctor Who, those giant webs that just spin up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
In like 2 seconds. What do you think was going on? Like, what's your take on the, shall we say, differing opinions on King Kaelin? It's like, was he like politically savvy and using Selene, or was he going to break up with her and marry?
I think he was trying his luck. I think he was very young, probably somewhat entitled. He did seem a bit spoiled and I mean nice, but used to getting his own way because obviously he's a king. I don't think there was any real love between like
him and Honora.
Kaelin and Honora. I think Honora loved him to a point, but I think they were both very aware that it was a political arrangement, and I think if Selene had agreed to it, then yeah, he definitely would have mugged off Honora.
I would love if the next Dragon Age game, it's like, okay, go to Denerim or something, and you go into a tower in Denerim, and Honora's just like, what the fuck do you want?
I'd like it if she hooked up with Selene herself.
Actually, yeah.
I like the fact that she turned out to be a raging lesbian. I was really pleased.
I got a very lesbian vibe from Honora, like with her and her handmaid.
That too, yeah. I was like, is there something going on there?
Do you know, it
wasn't oh no, it wasn't the handmaiden. It was her dad's like lieutenant or right hand lady was voiced by Alex Wilton Regan.
Yes, so Cochran. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
She was great. Because she's the one that has to like rally the men to walk away from Ostergard.
Yeah. She's like, really, sir? Or whatever. And he's like, do it.
Do it.
Because you don't have to kill her. You can get her to back down if you can convince her that Hal's just gone a bit loopy and is blinded by anger and seeking revenge and bollocks like that.
Yeah, and xenophobia and all that malarkey. I
didn't want to kill him because he was all right, really, given his background and everything, that you obviously learn about through the novels. I do feel bad for him.
I do feel bad for him, but I just thought it was hysterical on my first playthrough when I wasn't quite, sure what I was doing, and I managed to make my way through the Landsmeet relatively, making the right choices. And I was like, no, we must be noble and prove we are better than Logan by recruiting him into our ranks. And Alistair's like, no, it's him or me. I was like, all right, fine.
I was like,
mate.
okay, done. Yeah.
Yeah, done. It's like,
sorry, mate.
It's the quickest sentence he could have used to convince me to like cut his head off. I was like, right, I'll go off with his head.
I always let Alistair fight him as well. I feel like it's poetic justice. And I always kind of give him
Kaelin's armor.
No, I've forgotten. Oh no, that's terrible. I've forgotten his name. The guy that recruits us. Duncan. I always give him Duncan's
shield,
sword thing, dagger sword. I can't remember what he fucking wielded now. It's been so long since I played it. I need to refresh my memory.
No, you're right. He does have the sort of the two swords.
That's right. There was two of them, and so right at the end, I also fight with like Kaelin's sword and Duncan's sword, so that both of them are in the battle fighting.
I love that perk
it feels right.
that you get with like rogues, which is like now you can wield two-handed weapons as if they were daggers. Because it's just like, what is the most stupid sized sword I can give this character?
Yeah, so you're just like a massive one, throwing it around and flipping it in your hands and stuff.
I just love it when people who did a playthrough where they cleave Liliana's head off and she's just fine.
I got better.
She's fine. I got better. A wizard did it. The maker did it. In terms of like the gods of Dragon Age, so we've got confirmation that the Evanuris are just immortal mages, but ones that are killable. They're just powerful.
Yeah. They just live a really long time if you don't kill them.
Yeah. They're sort of immortal to anything but active attempts to kill them, shall we say.
Do you think the active attempts to kill them would be killing off their dragon?
I'm not sure, because
if the dragons are really attached to them, Because
if you think of Flemeth, because she's kind of the one, retroactively we have the most amount of evidence of, she managed to like steal her soul away and give that to Hawk. And then, in quite a lot of playthroughs, the warden swings by and is like, yo, yeah, I'm going to slay you now. And she's like, okay, I'm going to turn into a dragon. And she still manages to make it through to Inquisition just fine. I think Flemeth just operates on...
I don't think she's dead. I don't think she's properly dead. She put something in that mirror just before Solus turned up.
I think she just operates on the writers want her to stay alive, therefore she stays alive.
Yeah, it's like, well, tough, she's alive. Well, I mean, if you can't be an all-powerful witch with, like, an elven spirit in you and you can't split yourself into pieces and send yourself off in different locations, then what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because technically it's possible to have, like, make Flemeth survive in the first game and then she reincarnates in the second game. So there could be two bodies of Flemeth floating about.
Or, she's just put herself in her daughter's head just to piss her off even more.
Yeah. What I thought was weird about... I think it's Those Who Sleep, but it's the one where Alistair finds Morrigan's sister Yavanna, and she's like, "Ooh, join me," and then he just like stabs her in the gut, and I was like, "Did she?
Like, you really don't like Morrigan, do you?"
It's like, did she do anything to really warrant that brutal a death?
Looking like Morrigan,
I guess, but I was like, why?
He really doesn't like her.
I love this is why I love Morrigan as being such a three-dimensional character, because she's this, sort of playful but very independent feminine character, and the second I was just like, your nose looks a lot like your mother's. It's like, I hate you so much.
But I think like Morrigan in Origins was really trying to be more grown up than she really was, because obviously she knew a lot, but she knew nothing of what society was like and what the real world was like. So in that sense, she was very naive. So it was quite interesting to see her trying to cope and how she's grown up throughout the series.
And she didn't really seem to grasp, how in day-to-day, a lot of people just sort of do things because they like people, whereas everything to her was some sort of like transaction, like especially when they like give her the
what's
mirror.
The catch?
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, you clearly want to be paid back, and I love Morrigan so much. Just to get her to
I like her.
She's one of the best written like defrosting ice queens that BioWare's ever
and
done.
Liliana went the other way round, and that made me laugh. I was like, I like you better now. You're all angry and shit. Not that I hated her, but just I like that she toughened up. I was like, tell me a story. Go to the library, read the books, fuck off. It's like, oh, okay, bollocks then. I thought she was going to sing at me, and she was just really angry. And I was like, oh.
By sing, you mean awkwardly stand with her mouth opening and closing slightly.
That was ridiculous.
Not even remotely in time to the lyrics that are actually being sung.
Well, this time she really did sing. Once.
Mm-hmm. Once.
You know, we woke up and was like, what the hell's going on? Yes. I thought that was funny. They start singing and it just wakes us up in a way. And it's like, that's really rude. I was trying to sleep. How dare you burst into song?
As someone who loves nothing more than, to sit down with a good musical, the whole
I do like it, but...
Oh, yeah, they're going to put a musical sequence in your favourite game. It's just like, I love you guys.
As the Inquisitor, I was utterly baffled. I was like, what are you doing?
Did you see,
I'm dying
please tell me you saw the edit. So someone got the Dawn Will Come scene, but intercut it with the scene from Life of Brian where Brian is running away from the mob of worshippers and going, I'm not the Messiah now, fuck off! Oh man, I love that so much. I have to go watch that now. Oh man, because I think they've done the be a religious leader in Inquisition. I don't think it would be a wise idea to attempt to do that again. Because if you think about it, they've sort of done the hero who had heroism sort of thrust upon them with the Warden. With Hawk, it was more, I'm just trying to get by, the heroism is probably accidental.
I'm just kind of being chucked on me and I don't really have a choice, so I'm just kind of bumbling through it best I can.
And not to mention, like, most of the significant choices in DA2, and I mean this in a good way, were actually made by other characters. So it's you feel like the helpless, powerlessness, frustration of it, of just having all agency ripped from you. But it was done masterfully, so you felt that. Instead of being like, oh, I wish I could actually do something in this fucking game, you just felt like, oh no, I had my choice ripped from me, and that's why that works.
It's like everyone else is fucking up and I've just kind of got to fix it for them.
Yeah. And with DAI, of course, they had the I am the religious leader who got, a magical glowy hand and now everyone calls me the saviour sort of thing.
I'm not the saviour, I'm a very naughty boy.
Yes. Can I get that on a t-shirt?
I'm not the saviour, I'm a very naughty boy, yeah.
Come on, Redbubble or BioWare. Come on, where's my merch?
Where's the BioWare merch in general? It kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that not available
Oh my
now?
god. Do you think that would be the announcement they do? We have new Dragon Age merch.
I'll be like, I hate you all.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Like, where's all my money? Where did all my money go? It's like, yes, you filled your house with nothing but Dragon Age merchandise, but it's I want it.
Family member starts staging interventions.
Yeah, that's enough.
Now we all love you. You need to put it down. No! I will go to Thanos. It's like, trying to throw yourself in a cupboard because you think that'll get you to Narnia, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time as a child trying to get to Narnia by sitting in the closet. I came out eventually.
But literally or figuratively?
A bit of both.
Oh man. So as far as if you can think of just to go back to a romance thing for a sec, as far as an archetype that you can think of in romantic literature or things in general, is there anyone you can think of that hasn't been done by BioWare, or one that you love so much that you'll literally go romance that person regardless of what BioWare does with it?
Like an archetype? I don't know. See, for me, as long as they're funny, I'll probably want to date them anyway. So I don't really think that there's an archetype for me. It's not unless, comedian, in which case, yes, that.
I would like to see, they kind of did this with Thane, so I don't know if that counts, but like a dead significant other where like you like let them heal, which I guess you could do that with Maevaris.
Or like they sacrifice themselves to you, but I also hate that because it's like, no, but I wanted you to go off into the sunset. I guess Alistair kind of does that if you don't do the dark ritual, but
I hope you very much enjoyed the episode.
I always like talking about Dragon Age. It's like my favourite thing to do.
Indeed, thanks for the invitation.
As far as everyone else, you can find at Ability Drain on Twitter. You can find Caitie at Gil Derthalen on Twitter. And as the standard host of the show, you can find me at SeekerCat5500. You can find Minius at MiniusGC, and you can find Tucker at Anthem and Follower. But I hope you have a lovely rest of the day and game happy.
Bye.
Bye.
And AD sync.
I need to smack myself in the face then.
I'm under a blanket and I was like, don't smack the microphone and yourself in the face. It's going to be very bad.
I was politely asked to not be on this podcast, but I refuse. So hello. Goodbye.